What draws us to slice of life? Why be gravitated towards a genre that's not dramatic enough to be drama and not comedic enough to be comedy? I think it comes down to that very balance. Because, after all, our own lives are the same. That relatability allows the chance to be transported and perhaps carry new lessons forward into our own lives. Here are your nominees for Best Slice of Life.
あとは野菜が欲しい粒。うわー、たくさん食べた粒ね。
はいチーズあれ見てピースあー魅力なんじゃなくてトリッキーで性格超絶悪くてでも一人でいると寂しがったり過去に辛いこととかあって今の仲間になら素直な自分で
And your jury winner for 2025 Best Slice of Life is Sora Iro Utility. And for the public, it is Rudy Rocks.
Have you seen Sora Iro Utility Otaku Box?
Unfortunately not, even though I think it feels like it's up my alley. It's about golfing, right?
It's about golf. It's cute girls doing golfing. Yeah, but if we want to get collapsed, could you explain exactly what the appeal of Sora Iro Utility is? My hot take is that it's a little bit of a secret gooner show. It has like one of the hottest characters
What?
in all of anime as one of the main characters. But please sell us on the show.
Okay, so it's the premise is very typical: cute girls doing niche stuff. That niche stuff is golf. So what is it about that we consider really good? Well, it's obviously the cast. How golf is. It's not like about the golf in the sense that they teach you the rules. It's about competition or anything. Rather, it's just the backdrop for the characters to come together and see how they slowly develop a chemistry between them. And I will start with the main character. So it starts with her not having any passions, and she kind of gets into golf on a whim, and she meets these girls that are pretty fun to hang out with. And for the most part of the show, she is still pretty bad, but she slowly starts enjoying golf, not necessarily as the sport of I'm getting better at competing, but rather I enjoy golf as a social activity.
At some level, it really embodies what slice of life is and can be, because if you compare it to something like Medalist, which is in drama, Medalist is very clearly about the drama of trying to be the best, competing against the best, and the kind of trials and tribulations that comes with that, where in Sora Iro Utility, it's really more about the everyday happenings of embracing a new hobby, finding new people, and how your life can change based upon that. I mean, one of the main things is that the aforementioned really hot character I mentioned, I think her name is Haruka,
Yeah.
she was a competitive golfer, but it was due to being a competitive golfer that she kind of started hating how she was approaching the sport. And it's only when she was able to start, playing it with her friends who may not be as good as her, that she was able to really find joy and passion in it again. So I think it's really almost a quintessential slice of life, and it looks really good too.
It's funny because that's wholesale really sold me on it in the same way that I think a lot of people are sold on Ruri Rocks, which has a lot of those same qualities. I think where it's like we start with a character who doesn't really care about rocks. She kind of just wants to sell it for money, who eventually becomes more aware of the sentimental value of what this knowledge has. She starts connecting the geological past. She even has personal connections to the rocks with her grandfather. And the show kind of becomes less about, oh, look at these geology lessons that we're giving out each episode, but more about what it means, valuing information and knowledge and this curiosity that Ruri has, which I think also makes that show, it's a slice of life. It's, quote unquote, cute girls doing cute rock things, but it's also very, very well made in that sense of having a lot of the emotionality be tied back to that. And it also looks really good. The team behind Ruri Rocks did an amazing job there as well.
Do you know, are you familiar with Dojin tags?
Oh no.
Go ahead, yeah.
Well, so there's one that's like moral degradation, and I kind of think Ruridox is like the opposite, right? It's like reverse bimbofication, because we start off with Ruri and she doesn't really have a thought in her head, right? She starts looking after the rocks because they're really pretty and they sparkle, and ooh, shiny thing, right? So it's been really interesting seeing over the course of the series her not only being more attached to geology and what geology can tell us, but also like the scientific process, right? Like she eventually gets to a point where she is running her own little mini experiments and doing hypotheses and testing them to see if they are valid or not. And I think that kind of particular joy in the scientific method and the search for knowledge is really refreshing in a category like slice of life. And just the fact that, as well, that the cast is so diverse, right? I think it's so rare that we get such a large range of casts. So instead of this being like a middle school club or a high school club, you've got Ruri, who is a high schooler, I think, and her friend, and then she's interacting with these graduate students who are going out and about and doing their graduate work, but also taking the time to mentor them and really teach them about stuff and kind of spark that interest as well. I think that's an interesting interaction.
Yeah, there's a few series in this list that also kind of have that kind of quote unquote aged up cast. I think of Mono, where half of the cast is like a mangaka plus her mangaka friends and a motorcycle YouTuber. And we get like multiple episodes in Mono that's focused on them. We don't even, focus on the main cast. We have the adults doing their adult things, which I found really interesting. Food for the Soul, Hibimeshi, they're all university students, which again, aging up the cast, we get a lot of different scenarios happen when we kind of put them in different settings than we would normally find them in, quote unquote, in high school. I think having so many slice of life shows, having diversity in cast in that way was, in a way really refreshing, and also opened up for a lot of different shenanigans to happen.
Yeah, some of the shows, the main cast are even dogs, right? Is that am I getting Wonderful Creature right? Are they dogs?
Yes, I guess.
They're dogs? Wait, I was kidding.
Only one of them is a dog, one of them is a cat, and the others are actual humans.
Yeah.
Is this the obligatory Jury Loves Precure inclusion, or it's what exactly makes it top half?
When it was shortlisted, only 2 out of how many jurors remember? 10? Only 2 out of 10 jurors had it. Had even watched it. Like a lot of people were trying it for the first time. But for starters, the Precure is just a bit of a hard show to dislike. Like, sure, some jurors said that, oh, this gets a bit stale and can be a bit boring, but they never express outright dislike on many other entries. That's something that Precure usually really has to it. Like, it's hard to dislike, and people will always end in a middle ground. So that's why it always ends up being a bit of an upper juror choice. No one really hates it, but it's really enjoyable, and it's people will say, oh, it's so simple, the characters are archetypical, and it's for little kids, but
sometimes you want simple.
There is a certain charm to its childish message, I guess. I don't want to make it sound derogatory, but it's just
childish, non-derogatory.
It seems it's kind of endearing, and seeing how sincere it is.
I think kind of adding on to that, it's I think it's hard to dislike Wonderful Precure specifically, unless you hate pets and animals, because the whole show is themed around animals. So if you have a pet, if you have a dog, a cat, I think you're automatically already gonna like the show. But I think the way the show is even written based around that. So each pair is one in one. We have the human, and then we have the dog. We have the human and the cat. I think because of the way it's written in that way, we get a lot of time with the characters that are spent very efficiently. Like whenever one character gets characterization, it feels like two characters are getting characterization because we get both sides of the coin. We get the dog owner and then also the dog getting characterization. And I think that really allowed Wonderful Precure to have episodes that could really focus on the characterization in really kind of emotional ways even. I think there were multiple times, especially near the latter half, where there were episodes that were kind of making me tear up because of the situations they were in and the way the show was able to build up naturally these moments, because it really focused on building up these characters and their relationships to their pets in a very endearing, wholesome, and to me it felt very genuine the way it was able to do that. And I think I give a lot of props to Wonderful Precure. I hadn't watched it before this. I'd watched this in preparation for being here, and I really came out really enjoying this season. I rate this season very highly.
That's a really big testament. It's like 50 episodes, right?
Yeah, there's a certain point where I was just like staying up, like I want to watch more. Like I was really
Oh wow.
I was really engrossed in it.
Yeah,
that's
and
great. That's
I
great.
will also add Wonderful is like one of the least has the least plot of many Precures
Yeah.
that I have seen. It basically doesn't have like, you know how Precures will usually have a team of grunts villains to fight. They don't really show up for like 2 courses.
It's like, yeah, you don't get them showing up until like 25 episodes in.
It dedicates itself much more to the relationships of the characters. And since the theme is pets, it's like the relationships that the owners and their pets have, their communication, and other certain things that an owner may face when having a pet. There is I don't want to spoil it, but Otaku Box should know what episode I'm referring at, like 45.
Yeah, it's like 44.
I think the jury consensually said episode 45 is one of the best episodes I have seen for the category.
I did not expect to like be up at night watching Precure, like tissues in my hand, like.
Well, I've got to give this a try then. I'm really excited. Also, the title is a pun, because dogs in Japan, their barks, they sound like one. So it's wonderful. It's bark Precure. As a final thing I want to talk about, I want to talk about See You Tomorrow at the Food Court, because I don't know if I would consider it love it or hate it. I haven't been able to watch it myself, but it's on my list very highly because of the discourse I've heard around it, where on its surface it's just two people talking in a food court, right? So the premise itself is not exactly exciting, but from what I can understand, the show is able to present that in such a way that makes it engaging. So I just wanted to see exactly how it goes about that, and if you would recommend it. I mean, it was number 2 in jury, so obviously
Yeah,
it seems to be highly recommended.
Personally, it was my champion. Like that Food Court is the show I wanted to win. They sell the relationship of the two characters really well. It's one of the the dialogue, how they interact. It's one of the more natural feeling friendships I have seen in a while. Like I just buy this could be real people. Like, well, mainly Wada, the black hair girl. You might have seen funny gifs and faces of her. She just bends about the most minor and ridiculous things, while Yamamoto, the other Gyaru girl, is more quiet, and she just hears her like a sponge, and will make sarcastic remarks, but like at the same time you can tell that she cares about Wada and her state of being. So like it's just seeing a really chill and fun friendship flourish.
Adding on to that, there's maybe some people wouldn't like that. There's a lot of modernisms to it, like a lot of the things that they talk about in this food court to make it exciting. So like we get into this whole like mini arc where they're investing into gacha games. We see where like that's the interesting thing, right? There's 6 episodes, but conversations and quote unquote plot points that happen early on get brought back into later conversations, where it feels like we're constantly moving forward despite the episodes being disconnected. So like early on we see Wada have this gacha game obsession, and later on we bring that back. Unfortunately there's a end of service there for the gacha game, as all gacha games are meant to be. But there's also other like side characters that come around where it's like, you know, just one-off note about, oh, there's this person in my history that they'll mention, and then later on, well, all of a sudden that character comes back. It's a very short series, but it's very, to me, it felt very kind of loaded in information. There's a lot of jokes. It's very much them just kind of having shenanigans, but in a way, there was a lot of also characterization that felt impressive in the short amount of time they were able to allot to it, and it made watching kind of feel exciting because, you know, one random thing that you might have kept in mind in like the first episode might actually matter in a later conversation down the line, which was really interesting.
Well, thank you both for sharing this slice of life with me.